Rev up your engines. All right, the guy paid $3,200 for this, and he put like 140,000 miles on it. You can't complain about that. Now, he realizes it's getting hard to find parts for him in the United States, and he admitted it's the first and last Suzuki car he's going to buy. Well, I'll tell you one of the reasons his goes so far and why he's not really complaining. It has a 6-speed manual transmission. The automatics were so slow, Americans couldn't stand them. Now, you might think Suzuki, normally people think motorcycles, right? I got a screaming Suzuki, does 175 miles an hour, phenomenal motorcycles. But their cars, for Americans, are underpowered, especially with an automatic. 95% of Americans drive automatic transmissions. You get in one of these with an automatic transmission and drive around, you're gonna get out and you're never gonna get back in again. There were those little Suzuki Samurai Jeep things, right? People liked them. No good for long distance travel. I had a customer in Houston, he loved his, till he went to visit his relatives in Florida. He went from Houston to Florida, came back and sold it. He said that thing rode like a washing machine. It was horrible. Now, those are fun little toys. They pulled out of the United States almost a decade ago because of horrible sales. They didn't have enough dealerships. The ones they didn't know how to fix the vehicles. Parts were hard to get. But something like this can be an economic savior. He does DoorDash, Uber, all kinds of stuff with it because he gets 30-something miles a gallon. That's what these things are made for, which is rather bizarre because the Suzuki motorcycles are the exact opposite. They're screaming race machines that are totally insane. They even made a car. They took a Suzuki Hayabusa motorcycle engine that'll do over 200 miles an hour, and they put in a little sports car. But, you know, they really didn't sell because you got two wheels. It weighs 500 pounds. You put it in a car and you'll see, with the 6-speed, it's okay. It's a good transportation car. But when there's no infrastructure for the car, how many people are going to buy them? And I have to tell you the truth. All of my customers that bought these in Houston, every single one of them was an automatic transmission. A lot of them were college students, didn't have much money, and they couldn't keep up with the pace of Houston freeways. And some of them even got rear-ended, totaled the car because they were going too slow. When you're merging, you better get going fast. They don't with an automatic transmission. Like I said, this is a standard. It's a different story. Okay, and this little thing, it doesn't even burn oil yet. He changes the oil every 6,000 miles with full synthetic oil. It doesn't burn oil. And as we take this stupid beauty cover off, well, we'll peek under. I'm too lazy to unbolt it. You can see it's pretty much a normal vehicle. It doesn't have a turbocharger or a supercharger. It's normally aspirated, and it is a Japanese company. The engines are good. Suzuki makes great engines. It's got plenty enough power with a 6-speed manual transmission to get you where you're going, get good gas mileage, and last all these years. And as we look inside, it's got 228,591 miles on it. We'll start her up. Starts right up. I tell you, it's as quiet as a Toyota engine. The AC still blows freezing cold. They weren't poorly made. They were just not made for the American market. Other countries in the West Indies, they're nuts about Suzukis. Australia, where the price of gas is high, they love these little cars. But in the United States, too small of a car for an automatic transmission, and they were just dismal failures in the United States. On top of, like I said earlier, they had no dealer support network. They were always trying to get dealers, but here's the other problem with it being a small car. Small cars cost less, right? Nobody wants to own a dealership that sells small cars because they also have a smaller price with a smaller profit margin. Why do you think they're selling a bunch of big cars? Because there's a higher profit margin on them. My Matrix, okay, it's an 07, made in Cambridge, Ontario. Why did they stop making them? They were great vehicles. They didn't make enough money selling them. They'd rather sell you a Venza. They'd rather sell you a Highlander or a 4Runner. They don't want to sell you something that's going to run forever and not make them as much profit. It's a business decision. 200-some thousand miles, you can see, other than the battery, just about everything on it is still original equipment. AC, brakes, power steering. I mean, these things actually are pretty well made if you don't mind a small car. Now here we go to Ready Run It destination. U.S., you see Canada, they were relatively popular in Canada because gas costs so much more. And it knows it's an XX4 rear-wheel drive, 2007-13, 2-liter, and we have to select the transmission. This is a manual transmission, and there's everything. No cruise control, basic model, and we're gonna do an auto scan. It's old, but I could even do a topology scan. So here we go. It's gonna go through everything. And while we're going through, you can see he put a better radio in. There's no sunroof. And he has Star Wars taken over from the dome light. Who cares? You know, the bottom of the seat's okay. Put a seat cover on the top. It's got some space in the back. I am the first mechanic that's ever even looked at this car that he had to take it to. That's how these cars are, pretty well made and very simple to maintain. They don't have turbos. Any fool can do a brake job, change the spark plugs. They're very easy to work on. Loads up the wazoo. The first is the SRS. I wouldn't expect the airbag system to work anymore. I mean, as old as it is with all those mods, there's going to be a zillion codes, so let's see what that says. Okay, here we go. Occupant classification module sensor, not performance. Side airbag resistance too high. Side airbag resistance high. Occupant classification module, communication fault. Passenger seatbelt buckle sensor open. We really don't care, right? I mean, we'll erase them anyways just for kicks. Let's face it, you get a car this old, don't expect the airbags to save your life. Seatbelts work great, buckle them up. You can see it erased some, but there's still some. They're hard code, so forget the airbag system. It doesn't work anymore. And the BCM, okay, the BCM, the body control module, it has a whole bunch of codes. See what they are? There'll be a giant list soon. Here we go. Outside air temperature sensor circuit open. Tire pressure low. Tire sensors, well, we knew that because the tire monitor is on. Tire pressure monitoring system. Each tire in the valve stem, there's a battery and a little broadcast unit that tells the computer the tire pressure. Guess what? The batteries wear out over time. They're not replaceable. You'd have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to put new ones in. A tire gauge costs $10. Just check your tires. Don't spend a fortune fixing those stupid systems that as they age just cost more. You might think, oh, it's only one, I'll replace it. Well, guess what? That one is as old as the rest. So if you replace that one soon after, the other ones will start going out. What we want to do is look at live data. We'll start her up and we will go to the live data on the powertrain. Total fuel trim. Here it's 0.78, 0. So it's either nothing or less than 1%. And a car with 200,000 miles, you can't complain about that. You really can't. Remember, it's color-coded. These are all black, means it's all good data. Here's the air-fuel ratio sensor. Check it out. 0 is perfect. Well, there's perfect. 0 minus 0.004. So that means it's only 4/1000% off. Well, you can still get an awful lot of data out of these things. And I gotta say something. Okay, this thing has 200,000 miles. It doesn't shake at all at idle. It is smooth, and that's with the AC on. Kind of reminds me of my old Opel. First car I ever had. But it didn't have air conditioning, it just had windows. You might laugh at this little car, but he's got a trailer. He's remodeling his house, and he hooks a trailer up to it. That is the advantage of a manual transmission. He had a guy with a Honda tow a U-Haul trailer from California to Rhode Island. Mind you, got crap gas mileage. Instead of getting 35, you got like 18. But, I mean, you're pulling that kind of weight. The fact that it made it, went over the Rockies and didn't have problems, tells you. You might think about a standard, a manual transmission. Nobody to the right, one guy to the left. Let's hope his turn signal, it means he's really turning. We're going to our little drag strip. We're gonna come to a stop, and we'll see what this baby can do. Ready, set. Hey, it burned rubber. Look at that. Makes a lot of noise. It accelerates, you know. Yes, it's not a race car, but hey, I'll tell you, you listen to that engine, it's got a nice sound. We're doing 60 now. Hey, I can't complain. And it's relatively quiet for a little puddle jumper. I don't hear bearings. It's pretty well air sealed, doesn't make that much noise. Hey, I gotta say, I'm impressed by this thing. But as I said, if you ever get in one of these, it has an automatic transmission, you're gonna wish it had an engine twice the size. But with 6 gears, hey, you wanna go faster? Just go down a gear. 200-something thousand miles, doesn't burn oil, still runs smooth. So here we are, a Suzuki SX4. And what's wrong with it? Well, mechanically, I have to say basically nothing. The AC works, it drives like a dream. Now sure, cosmetically, you know, he's got little plastic wraps holding it together, all kinds of crazy stuff. The paint is fading away, the clear coat's gone, and the water-based paint they put on didn't hold up and it faded. I had a Toyota did the same thing, right? But this thing, it might go another 200-something thousand miles if he keeps changing the oil every 5,000-6,000 miles with synthetic oil. The standard transmissions, the manual transmissions can run forever. Hey, this thing actually doesn't run any different than it did when it was brand new off the showroom floor, truthfully. Yeah, they're not race cars, but you felt it. It had plenty of get up and go, and the engine didn't have any misses, the bearings and everything are working. And yeah, the struts are a little bit worn, but hey, they got 200,000 miles. He doesn't care, it still goes down the road. He uses it for Uber, for delivering stuff. And for his $3,200, and he's got 140,000 he put on himself, hey, he's making out like a bandit with this car. Just realize though, if you ever see one of these with an automatic transmission, jump at the opportunity to drive it. Get in it and drive it, and you'll probably get out and say, well, that was an experience I'm never going to repeat. And then you would look for one that had a manual transmission in it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.